What up guys, Kevin Cage back with another crypto video. Let's get right into it. So I want to kick things off showing this old infographic or this family tree showing the Interledger protocol family with a variety of crypto assets such as XRP, we have XLM, we have IOTA, we have XDC, USDC, a stablecoin, Algo, etc. Now all of these groups are working together. I believe they have a somewhat vested interest and they're working on different verticals as well. Right here we have the INATBA founding members, which are the International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications. And we can see IOTA part of this. Of course, this has to do with even IoT and the Internet of Things, and Mobi, which is an initiative that Ripple has also joined, and Ripple is a founding member of this group. Interestingly enough, we look up the website inatba.org, and Ripple's nowhere to be named anymore. Yet we know in April 2020 they came out and announced this. This was fact, even in all articles by INATBA saying that Ripple was a founding member. I know I uploaded this 30-second clip, and this was uploaded on October 26th, but this was dated back to April 2020. Brad Garlinghouse actually just announcing that they are a founding member of this group, and we can see 22.2. All right, so we'll keep going here, and also just ensure that this document right here was actually made by a community member based out of Paris. His name is Matthew, so be sure to give him due credit, and you can follow him here at MATB3RG. All right. I just see a lot of people passing it around, and I just want people to ensure or understand that he built this for us. Now, we've already checked it all out. It makes perfect sense per the family tree. We know that SAP has, sent XRP between large banks like ATB and Reese Bank. We understand the connections, of course, Accenture, one of Ripple's first investors, Digital Dollar Project. We understand Consensus, and of course, the recent acquisition related to Quorum and JP Morgan and a fork of Ethereum. We can see, R3 right here with Corda and all the ISO standards. We know ISO is being delayed, but messaging is still critical. And we know XRP is settlements. We need both, all right? And of course, recent news. So we know Algo, and I'll actually touch on Algo and Algorand a little bit in this video. If you guys want to see my review video on Algorand, it will be in the top of this video description if you are looking at other projects to diversify with. All right, and not financial advice, of course, but please do your own research because I can recognize a giant when I see one. So right here, we know Circle, of course, is well connected with Algorand. We know Brian Brooks's connection as well. Algorand, we can go on and on about their connections. It's almost similar to Ripple, but they're not as old. XRP and the Ripple family are very old money. I believe it's, tightly connected, of course, based off of all the banks and, governments that we see in the BIS, IMF, etc. Algo has the same type of thing related to MIT, like Ripple with MIT, the World Bank, Coinbase, the OCC, IBM, Goldman Sachs, the Trilateral Commission, the IMF, different parts of the Federal Reserve as well. I mean, even Federal Reserve, Bank of New York members, sitting on the board of Algo. It's not coincidental, and they have a $200 million VC fund used at their disposal. And as we know, I'm sure you guys heard the bad news with projects like Casino Coin running out of trouble, or running into trouble. They had the dump on the market massively, adding a bunch of supply to the market. We had, employees or advisors going down. I'm running into some financial troubles to keep the network afloat. This is why, and my heart goes out to anybody that was affected. I've never bought CSC. I've never owned it, but you just never know. So understand that when I'm putting my eggs into baskets, it's okay to diversify and go towards some risky microcaps, but the bulk of my portfolio are in reliable cryptos because to me, cryptocurrency is already dangerous enough. It is the most volatile, most nascent, meaning it has the most underlying potential for the future. But don't get me wrong, it is still dangerous and it is still uncertain. So please be careful, all right? So let's keep going here. And just kind of wanted to point these connections out. We know even with XLM and their connections now to USDC as well, being one of the chains for the network, we know Algorand's integrations not only with USDC, but also with USDT Tether. All right, we'll keep going. So give credit to Matthew, talked about INATBA, of course, and a variety of members here, including even Energy Web, which is also part of Ripple's decarbonization initiative. All right. Now, right here, this is another gentleman to follow if you guys are into Algo. This is Alex J. Woke Up, always posts, different threads. And typically some threads will have a bunch of information. And of course, I recommend going through these. He's put out some great threads in the past with like tons and tons of information. So definitely recommend checking it out. All right. So before we get into algo, I want to touch on XRP. I know this information came out last week, but it is still important to cover. And obviously, there's just a plethora of news coming out, and I will be talking more about MUFG in the next video. One of the biggest banks in the world, and of course, RippleNet. No surprise. So right here, guys, XRP Crypto Wolf sharing this, and why I think this is so big. And I know Crypto Addy and many people touched on this, and I think this is a lot bigger than we think. This is the Nikkei even commenting on this with this article: a demonstration test swap trading XRP. Like utilizing XRP, guys, these are on-ramps. These are use cases being built in the global cash management of companies with many overseas bases. It is expected that small lot remittances will be more efficient by utilizing crypto assets. And absolutely, and this is not just being tested, this has been in the works for quite some time. If you pay attention to what the trends are that even the World Bank has been saying, you can understand the remittance costs are going to be cut faster. And if you guys are familiar with ILP and micropayments and batching payments, these low-value payments could essentially just underlie all payments in the future. The more efficient payments get, we're not going to have to send big batches of 1 billion or 100 million together. We might be able to just keep consistent flow and volume all the time of thousands of dollars, if not micropayments. So the sky is the limit. And if you do not understand all these words I'm saying, just understand that the higher the volume and frequency of payments, the better. Obviously, it adds to liquidity for XRP, which essentially means utility, and using XRP will become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, like a snowball coming down a hill. And what does that mean? It adds to the demand of the finite supply of XRP, which ideally, if you guys understand just basic economics with supply and demand, would increase the price. The new ground floor price of XRP based off of utility will start to rise. Right now, we're in a speculative market. And anything can happen. We can have, prices fluctuate like crazy. But when the ground floor of utility starts going, the new bottom for XRP would become 20 cents. Then it would become 50 cents. Then it would become all-time high of $3. The sky is truly the limit. All right. So we'll keep going here. Of course, right here, just, kind of adding to this article by Nikkei, demonstration experiments such as FX coin to avoid price fluctuation risk of virtual currency, because volatility is the issue. As XRP becomes more liquid, meaning there are more buyers and sellers at a variety of price points and a variety of amounts, XRP becomes cheaper. There is literally nothing that can stop it. And that is where this type of flywheel effect comes into, reality. So FX coin of the virtual currency exchange business will build a mechanism to avoid the risk of price fluctuations of crypto assets. Now, right now, we understand that even sending through the correspondent banking network, and it takes 2 to 3 days, maybe 5 days to send a payment, that is mathematically still more volatile than actually just sending XRP in, 3 seconds or 2 minutes. That is crazy to think. So when XRP has liquidity, just imagine what it could really do. All right. And there's going to be many assets and, coins that serve, for this problem, but not many are being built to be an agnostic bridge asset. Specifically with the DEX and, all the big things. We have David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, even coming out talking about this negative UNL update for the XRP ledger being a game changer as well. We have builders in this ecosystem. Just like Ethereum has tons of developers and builders and institutional players, that is the same thing for XRP. All right. This type of project will not disappear overnight. There's too much going for it. There is big money behind it. Just like with, Algorand, which I'll go over, and I did touch on like that $200 million VC fund. Please, XRP's backing makes, that even look small. And you shouldn't be surprised. You should know the players, the original investors in the Ripple company as well. All right. Right here, guys, this is shared by Roth Economist. So we have a Ripple partner, Banco Bradesco, and they're basically commenting how intra-bank domestic transfers are easy with Brazil's PIX system, instant and free, but blockchain or DLT, blockchain's just a subset, makes sense in international payments given the complexities. And I 100% agree. It's just basic efficiency. It doesn't mean it's not because I own crypto assets that I want them to go up. It just makes sense. And this is the future. And eventually all these slow laggers are going to start migrating towards this, like zero doubt in my mind. So right here, guys, we know earlier, what was it, in the summer, I believe? Maybe it was, just a couple months back. We had a Ripple meeting in Brazil, of course, with the central bank. We know that, Brazil and the Brazilian real are going to start utilizing on-demand liquidity, aka start utilizing XRP as we're expanding throughout all of Latin America for that matter. So very interesting. And you should not be surprised. This is already an announced RippleNet partner as well. And yes, they may have other partners. It might not just 100% be Ripple, but that is important to understand that this is about interoperability. Just like this picture of all of these groups linked together, all the money in the world or value or data in these ledgers and smart contracts, they have to interoperate. If they do not all connect and money can't flow between all of these, rivers, these pathways, what's the point? So DLT is about financial inclusion and interoperability, meaning just interconnectivity between all of these groups. It's not going to just be controlled by JP Morgan or, SAP for that matter. There's going to be different use cases. All right. I just want to put that across. So right here. So we can see, during the session, challenges to implement blockchain in Brazil from Blockchain Revolution Global, BRG, 2020, which happens this week. This event is held by the Blockchain Research Institute, and the session was organized by BRI Brazil. The bank is experimenting with technology for these transactions. It has already announced tests of operations between Brazil and Japan using the Ripple platform, executing transfers in seconds. Also in trade finance, where the big money is, it's also part of the Marco Polo Global Network, which is, obviously R3. So very, very interesting, guys. Trade finance is where the big money is. Ripple is focusing on these low value transfers. But the thing is, where's the point of no return? Just like, a snowball coming down the hill. Ripple, and it's already becoming more and more liquid. You understand the flows between, Mexican peso and the US dollar. It will have this flywheel effect. If you saw Swell and saw where they're at in the flywheel effect, it's about to become self-sustainable. So I surely am not giving up on XRP and my investment just because I feel it should have gone up already. I don't invest based off of just pure feelings. I'm looking at what is being built in front of me. I have all of these groups building, becoming, bigger liquidity providers being named. We have Blink, we have, BCB, like all these groups, guys. I cannot give up on my investment because I am simply impatient. That is a big no-no for me. You guys decide for yourselves, all right? And even across the board, we're seeing demand. I've already commented on the World Bank for remittance. We're even seeing Nigeria and Africa and parts of the unbanked and underbanked populations saying Nigeria said blockchain will generate, or hopes it will generate, $10 billion in revenue by 2030. Now, some of you you'll roll your eyes and say, oh, that's so far away. What I'm saying is this is showing increasing demand and interest in this technology. And once it starts happening, it's too late. You cannot turn back. All right. And last but not least, so I know you guys have seen this. So Professional Apex Legends, for all you gamers out there, if you guys know the game Apex, basically plans to receive salaries in XRP. Right here, SBI. Keep in mind, they're one of the largest shareholders of R3 and Ripple. So if someone says that they don't care or that SBI is not doing anything for the XRP ecosystem or they don't care, I just roll my eyes. SBI is one of the biggest shareholders. Mr. Katao is a genius strategist, and I think that there are big things coming, all right? We know even with SBI Ripple, big things are coming. I was hoping that we'd get a launch or announcement by end of year, but we'll see. I still have high hopes for this overall platform, all right? So SBI specifically has done so much. They're planning so much more. You guys can see the roadmaps. It's way beyond just, money tap and all these little applications. They're building demand. They're building use cases, and they're building on-ramps. And you know what happens with all these on-ramps? And essentially on-ramps meaning they can connect to the XRP ledger. That will create demand. And I think you guys know what follows that. Price. Okay? So right here, with players accepting salary in XRP, so pretty cool. And it's not like the main use case by any means, but again, showing demand right in front of us. So SBI Esports, a subsidiary of major Japanese financial services company SBI Holdings, has announced the launch of Apex Legends. We have some big players right here, guys, and they, says that he has owned the 4th largest cryptocurrency before. Very cool. And obviously, guys, I think Japan is a lot more forward thinking than most places. So hopefully this will get some cool attention as well. And I think that streaming of payments is going to become a huge thing in the future. Just like we've talked about, it might not just 100% be XRP. In the future, maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it would not surprise me one bit. Instead of getting paid bi-weekly or bi-monthly, to get paid the day of your work. Smart contracts automating. As soon as you check in or timestamp into work, you're getting paid. Unless you take PTO, everything is just truly automated and you're getting paid as you go. It just makes simple sense, and I think that will be happening. And everything sounds crazy until it isn't, right? And then here's, Apex Legends. I'm sure you guys have seen this if you're the younger crowd. And for any older people that don't think this is a big deal, just understand, watch your grandchildren, see your children playing games like Fortnite. This is absolutely the future. Like, kids want to become, they don't want to become professional baseball players anymore. They want to become professional gamers. So trends are your friends. And if you recognize this early and capitalize off it, I think that you can do exceedingly well. And there are some great, very interesting crypto assets, revolved around or focused on gaming as well. But guess what? XRP is right there with hundreds of millions of dollars at its disposal, thanks to Spring, which is now RippleX, building all these SDKs and on-ramps, and literally streaming for payments. And the most immediate issue right now for blockchain and, overall utility is payments. There's so much friction. So if you do not like XRP, that's fine. But hate to break it to you, XRP will play an instrumental role in the future of payments and already is, arguably. All right. So let's touch on Algorand right here, guys. Again, the review, if you guys want to just check it out, is in the top of this video description. And I just want to touch on a few things. So we have this little article, and I know the other review kind of went through way better information, but I just want to touch on this. So drivers of Algorand's progress, we all know, the founder of Algorand Foundation from MIT, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that coined zero knowledge proofs, like just an absolute genius, based out of Italy. MIT also runs an XRP validator. Fun fact, we can see what it's going after, and essentially trying to solve the blockchain trilemma with speed, scalability, and security without trade-offs between the other. If you say this, it's almost like Bitcoin maximalists act like this is their Bible, like this blockchain trilemma cannot be beaten. And the truth is, it may very well be beaten and overcome someday. So you just cannot rule it out. New technology every year, every decade is coming out and basically showing us, what we thought we knew is silly. Just like science or a new diet fad, every 10 years it changes completely. All right, Marshall Islands already building a CBDC on top of them. We've touched on that. Of course, we talked about, Tether, USDC network as well. And, even plans for throughput and TPS of more than 1,000 transactions per second right here with Circle. And of course, we know Circle's connections with XLM or the Stellar Foundation. Okay, now this was really interesting as well, was IDEX, Algorand's decentralized exchange partnership. And here's what I was referencing as well. So IDEX was chosen in the initial portfolio company category for investment as per Algorand's expansion plan using its $200 million Algo VC fund. Now, I'm not trying to bash on any other projects, but this project is, literally relatively new, like 2 years old, if that, and they are already making an absolute killing. They have a roadmap, they have a plan, and they have tons of institutional interest. I don't see this project disappearing anytime soon. I've already talked about what they're working on with diamond authenticity. They're talking about copyright management. They're doing a lot of the things and integrating with the Ethereum blockchain. And it's about interoperability. It's not about creating separate walls. They're breaking these barriers down. So Algo is definitely one of my long-term holds. The chart, although, I don't want to be patient, the chart does look extremely promising long-term. All right, we've talked about IBMR with their connections. Just overall, understand that they, have huge potential. Right here, talked about IDEX. And right here, I just want to finish up with this conclusion. With each successful project, Algorand boosts the confidence of companies around the globe to adopt this platform. We already have CBDCs being built up on top of it. We have technology providers actually choosing them as being one of the best pure proof of stake blockchains. That's not coincidental. They're not going around and begging for attention. They are working, keeping their head down and building. I don't see them going around and trying to hype a project like, no offense, but like Tron. And we have, Justin Sun going around. They're just building. And guess what? Builders are paying attention. And what's next? Us retailers are going to start paying attention because we're going to see what's being built. So, some of us are late to the party, but I think that, Algo at this price is still a great deal, even if it does go a tad lower. All right. Thus, Algorand has truly elevated itself as the primary contender for the future of blockchain-based fintech, and it will not just be one. Just remember, if you guys want to screenshot this, give credit to Matthew as well. This is a cool little document, and it will be fun to add and, kind of extend this as well with other assets and other networks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.